What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the We're Just Talking podcast with Mariel here. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us as always. Apologies for our 2-week hiatus. It's been a rough 2 weeks. Needless to say. Well, the first hiatus we took, while we didn't really discuss with one another, I think we both had an understanding that we were going to take a week off. That was because of Memorial Day, so we figured, you know what, it was harmless to, take the week off for the vacation, but the second week hiatus was unintended, and we actually recorded an episode last week, folks.
Yeah.
But a certain software developer from Texas doesn't know how to keep a file on his
how to
computer.
operate software. Well, yeah, I will take fault for our missing episode. It's just gonna be now regarded as the lost episode.
Yeah.
And it was full of good stuff. So I'm sorry no one got to hear it. Probably the best episode we've ever recorded. Yeah, I think it was crazy. I was explaining to Marielle how that file got deleted. And I just think that it's crazy how computer software could do something like that. And being a developer myself, I would know I would never allow the user to delete files off the computer through the software. Because I feel like they could delete a lot of stuff doing it that way. And this wasn't no like delete and it just goes to your recycling bin. This was a straight up erase, never existed on my computer type of delete.
So folks, so he got the file after we were done recording, and he uploads it onto the video editing software that we use for the show. And I guess he either wanted to start over on the project, or he just wanted to, do a redo, and which is normal when those softwares, and you delete the project. He deletes the file from the software, but apparently that software controls your whole life.
Yeah, the software is deeply rooted into my computer right now, which is a little scary. But it's straight, and and it gave me a little message like, "Hey, you sure you want to delete it?" And I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't read the whole message. I thought it was just one of those. It was like very generic. Like, "Are you sure?" Like, yeah, just get rid of the project right now. I didn't know that it was went straight up digging in my files. I feel a little bit violated. And it went in there, and it just didn't even push it to a recycling bin. It just totally erased it from the computer. I didn't think it was possible. I don't even think deleting from a recycling bin will actually delete it, but this thing found a way to annihilate its existence.
Granted, that pop-up box with the warning message probably had like 5 X's on it. And here's Isai thinking, it's just a generic.
It might have mentioned when I was looking up afterwards. I guess it might have mentioned that it was going to permanently erase from the disk, basically from the hard drive of the computer.
Important keywords there.
Yeah, and it was kind of, maybe it might have been bolded, but like I was busy. I was trying to edit. I was trying to get it out for everybody, but things happen. And so I will say that I will apologize on both of us, because we still have not acknowledged anything for the past 2 weeks in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I will say though, I am a little bit hurt because I also haven't received any type of notice or, hey guys, when's the episode coming out?
I've had people comment on the show, and I'm surprised. No, I haven't gotten a single private DM asking.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is this the end of season 1? Is this what's going on?
Yeah, nothing. I've gotten DMs when I was just a few minutes late on releasing. Like, hey, you listened to some of my comment and nothing. So maybe it's just that everybody else is busy as well, and there's just been a few busy past weeks. Now, I do want to acknowledge, because I think Mario thinks I'm going to forget, but I will acknowledge that the first week we did have a mutual understanding on this sort of week hiatus. But I did ask Mario if we were recording, and Mario. But I will say that Mario didn't. The time passed, and Mario didn't say anything. So maybe we were both at fault, because maybe he was thinking we had a mutual understanding, and that for that first hour, I didn't have any type of understanding. I was just, I wasn't present. I was asleep, but still. Anyways.
Oh yeah. So this was the day. This was when. So this Memorial Day break for us was not planned. But it came to be around Sunday. We record on Mondays. And around Sunday, we both kind of were like, I guess we're not doing this tomorrow, right? Or I think it was on Monday actually that we chatted, and we were like, it's not happening, right?
We said we weren't doing Monday because of the whole, it's a Memorial weekend. People are having time off, so it was like, why? Let's just enjoy, that time. So we just said, let's move it a day, the next following day, maybe. Thank you, BB.
Um, no, I think your house is on fire. You say?
Give me 1 second. Oh,
Oh, yeah. Is that your alarm? Is that what that is?
all right. That was the timer.
Timer.
I had a timer set. I literally thought
I cut it short today.
my computer was about to explode.
Oh,
I heard the beeping. I thought
the type of tech problems you've had this past week.
I feel like I'm discrediting myself on all these things. I heard it. I did not know what was going on right now.
I saw the panic in your eyes when you looked at the screen and you said, "Do you? Is it beeping?"
Yeah,
I was like, "Nope, sir. That
it's
is
like
just."
it sounds pretty loud. I'm like, where's that coming from? I looked at my computer too. You okay, bro? Nothing was wrong with it. Anyways, that freaked me out. Yes, so I guess getting back to it. Yes, we were supposed to record. Actually, now I'm trying to think back at the schedule, and I can't even recall how this whole thing worked. What day we were actually supposed to record. I do. I will say that I did fall asleep on whatever day it was that we were supposed to record.
Monday.
Yeah, I guess it was Monday. No, because we had already decided we were gonna.
Oh, Tuesday. So you fell asleep on Tuesday. You fell asleep all day,
No,
right?
because I think I was busy Tuesday as well. It was one of these days, maybe Wednesday, Thursday. It was one of those days. It was some day, like I'm saying, I cannot remember. I fell asleep during the day, which is not recommended. So maybe
Well, it actually is recommended by doctors, but briefly, not what you did.
Yeah, not what I did. I went to close my eyes. See, mine was a little bit different. Mine wasn't like a planned sleep. I went to go rest. I actually just went to. I was about to have dinner, and I just said, you know what, let me go. Dinner was almost ready, maybe like 2 minutes away from being ready, and I said, I'm just gonna lay down for a second, and watch some TikTok videos. And then I said, let me just take my glasses off. That was right there. I should have known, right? And then I closed my eyes and I woke up 4 hours later in a panic. It was nighttime, and it's worse because it's the summer right now, so it must be late once the sun's down. Because sun's out forever in the summer. It's night. I woke up in a pool of sweat, literally. My whole body was just wet, except my face because for some reason the blanket just covered everything, everything but my head. So from the neck down, it's just wet and sticky. And and it's hot, and I'm confused about what's happening. What time is it?
That's the worst. Those first few seconds where you wake up and you're like, "What? First of all, what day is it? What's my name? And where am I?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I can't even believe maybe this is a dream as well. And
this is another one.
I'm freaking out because I hate feeling that state, like being sticky like that, and I'm like, did I pee? Did I pee in myself while I was asleep? Have you ever had those when you're asleep and like you're peeing in the dream and you wake up?
I have had that. Like you start feeling around, like, oh damn, did this happen in this bed?
Well, yeah, like I'm pretty sure in the dream I dreamt that I peed. I didn't pee, I didn't smell any pee, so I'm sure I didn't pee. But there have been times where it was a little bit, it was close.
You almost opened that door.
I know I'm so tired, but I wake up because I have to pee so bad, and then I feel around just to make sure that I didn't do anything, just to be cautious because I never know what's going on.
Right.
But yeah, so I went to sleep. I woke up 4 hours, 5 hours later. I don't know. It's late. I'm confused. I realized that I'm about an hour, 2 hours past the time for recording, and that's why I bring up Mariel. I didn't get a message from Mariel, so that's why I felt like what's going on. There was no communication. I guess it was just an understanding after that. I did say,
hey, no communication is communication. All right. If I don't get a text from you, that is in my brain, that is Isai saying either I'm doing something more important or it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, so Mariel showed up in the room at 8 o'clock, left at 8:01. He said he's not coming. And went on with his business, which is fine. I gotta respect him for that. Like for feeling that we had that understanding there. Now I will say that when it comes to sleeping like that, I'm usually not one to do things like that. I can do it sometimes. Back when I was in school, I will say I think I had a little bit of a problem because, if I had nothing to do, I wasn't one to be like, hey, let me go hang out with people because that was a little bit draining sometimes. I would come back and I rigged my room because we didn't have curtains, right? Everybody has like a blind, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And so I got like command hooks, and I stuck them to the top to make my own like little like I guess the hook for the curtain rod.
Right.
And so I created that, and then I just put my I've had this thick blue blanket
Yeah.
that was I used that as like a nighttime curtain. What are those like the
Oh,
sun
like a
blocking
blackout shade.
blackout shade? Yeah, I put it on there, and it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it felt like it was 10. And I would walk in the room, and it was just pitch black, and I would fall asleep because I was like a bird. I put the blanket over the cage, and I said, "Oh, I guess it's
Blanket over
nighttime."
the cage.
I said, "I guess it's time to go to sleep." And I did that for a while, and so now I don't ever do it again because I it's very dangerous.
Yo, it's nice, yo. It is dangerous, but it's nice when you can just go to sleep on command. Man, on my bed, I'm the type of dude that like, hey, if we said goodnight, if we're like sharing a room, and
Yeah,
we said, all right, good night, everybody. I used to do this with my brothers on a bunk bed growing up. Or Sammy knows this. But shout out Sammy. But I'm the type of guy like once I say goodnight, I'm out like a light. Two
yeah.
seconds later, 2 seconds. Like once I even lay down on the bed, I'm already yawning. Um, but it's a gift. It's dangerous, but it's
I think so. I have a lot of respect for people who are able just to fall asleep like that. I know that it's a trait very well sought out by the army and the military. Your ability just to fall asleep on command like that because
mm,
you know they need soldiers well rested in the middle of battle.
yeah,
I'm not one. I have as you know people who are listening now might recognize I have a little bit of a paranoia.
a little bit.
uh, I'm not too much, not to like a clinical level, but I will say that sometimes I just it's hard for me to trust people. So I'm not if there's people around me, I'm not gonna fall asleep on command. I feel like I gotta wait
You
until
you did also say that you used to go to sleep with your door open, which is semi borderline sociopathic to me.
yeah. Well, here's the deal because I feel like if I close my door, I guess then maybe this logic doesn't make sense. I feel like I gotta be aware of what's going on. But that is a
You're
little bit.
asleep. You're the most vulnerable thing in the
But
world.
I guess so. Well, I it's like I feel like I have my door closed. It's gonna be. None of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. I'm about to say.
Mm.
But
Disclaimer.
I didn't grow up. So I didn't grow up with my door closed. So it's hard for me to have a door closed and feel like I feel like something's going on out there because the door is closed. So when I'm about to fall asleep, I hear a noise. I'm like, what's going on out there? See,
Mm.
there's people who are like when they're scared of like the monster or they're scared of the kill, like they want to go hide under the blanket. And it's like by not seeing it, like it doesn't exist. But
You want to investigate it.
I've never been one to be like that. I have to confront it like right there. Like I can't like go to sleep
He's like,
thinking or
if I'm
imagining.
gonna die, it's gonna be right now.
Yeah, like exactly. I'm not gonna wait for nothing. I'm not gonna wait for it to come get me. Like I'm gonna go get it right there and then. At least I know. At least I'm like part of me in my mind believes that something's already there. Like I don't know if you did this. I'd walk into the restroom, and for years I did this for years. I maybe just stopped recently, but I would go into the restroom and I would open up the curtain, just to make sure that nothing was
I
there.
am convinced that every single person on human earth does that.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I'd go in there and check it, like no matter what, even if I was only in there for a second.
Oh yeah.
Just to verify that nobody was in there. But yeah, so when I'm going to sleep, like I have to have the door open because I want to see when I'm before I go to sleep that everything is clear and we're good to go. If I'm already sus, I want to see when it's happening. You know, I don't
Yeah.
want to be close the door and think everything's okay. You know, and I'm knocked out thinking everything was okay, when it was not. You know, that's how
Yeah.
you get killed. Anyway,
Well, my thing is, it depends what you're scared of, right? So it depends what the threat you're
yeah,
anticipating. So if
I
it's
guess
like a
that's true.
ghost or like a monster, like then I like my belief is like a door ain't gonna stop that. Like you might as
Oh,
well go out because the door
yeah,
ain't gonna stop it. But
that's
if it's
true.
like a burglar or
Yeah,
or like a random person,
yeah.
then yeah, you may want to lock a door.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I guess because where we were living at where I had the door open, like this door was like a piece of cardboard, you know, it was nothing special. It was nothing that was gonna protect me from anything. I felt
Mm.
like if the burglar was gonna go in there, he was gonna break the door, you
But you
know.
would wake up from the break.
Yeah, I guess so, but I also wake up from his footsteps down as soon as he walked in through the front door. See, when you close
Mm.
the door, you're closing yourself out to the outside sounds. and so you're not gonna hear. It's gonna sound more muffled when someone opens the door with your door closed as opposed to it open. You see,
Mm.
I'm see that's the thing too. I'm not like a deep sleeper. I'm not gonna like sleep through unless I'm really tired. I'm not gonna just gonna sleep through stuff.
Unless it's last Tuesday.
Yeah, unless this is a special circumstance.
Right.
That on last Tuesday I would have died if someone came in. Um,
And
they could have,
I rest my case.
they could have, but usually, just to be safe, I have to have that door open because I need it here. The way, especially where I was at the very end of the hallway. And
Mm.
so and I lived with Sammy, like we said, shout out Sammy. So I definitely wake up Sammy first so he can come out and pop his head out and he gets attacked first and I can make my way to the exit.
I
Um,
can make my way to
but
the.
but I can only make that possible if
Yeah.
I am aware of the situation at the earliest time possible. I can't wait for him to get to my door and
Mm.
then try to I try to like react to that because by then it's too late. Now we're both done. At least with the first option, I have the option to as soon as I hear the first creak, I'm already up and I see that
I
doors
like that.
open. So guess what? The doors open. I see the guy. Step one, get a weapon, whatever I can find. Wake up Sammy. Sammy's gonna come out of the door. He's gonna get attacked first. I push Sammy to the guy and I
Oh,
exit out.
okay.
And I
Do
make
you
my
have
exit.
a do you have I know you're from Texas, so at home when you're home you probably have a gun in every closet, but when you were living when you were living in Carlisle at school, did you have like would you look around your room and say like, all right, if anything were to go down,
Oh,
this is the weapon?
for sure. There was an episode in The Office where Dwight said that he was looking for everything that could be used as a weapon in that room.
Hmm.
And Jim thought that wasn't like a thing people did. I very much am aware of what I can and cannot use as a weapon. Most of the time, for the longest time, I would like at school, I would just carry like a pen. I had these like really sharp pens that I would have, and I would just use that I'd have one in my pocket just in case I ran into something
I don't like your chances
that
with that,
went
but
down. The pen was going to help me. I wasn't trying to wear a blade or anything because I feel like I get in really big trouble for something like that. So I was like, I
yeah.
guess the next best thing is this sharp pen I have. But yeah, I mean, I definitely was like, all right, I can use this, I can use that. I had these things in my head of what I can't use. I had my keys in a certain way where I could like swing the key at somebody and use
Yeah,
that.
I've seen
Um,
that.
Now I've never been in a situation where I have to do any of this stuff, but it's
Well,
good.
no, especially because someone takes your car, they don't even have to,
Yeah,
someone takes your phone. Someone takes your phone from the comfort of the driving seat, so they don't even have to they don't even have to do anything.
yeah, exactly. So, well, you just gotta be prepared. I think that's the message for this is that you just have to be prepared. You never have to know. You never know what's gonna happen. And I mean, another thing too is like my
Right.
brother Adam. Um, he he's I think he's like more of a heavy sleeper, and he will sleep through things like that. But he's also one that will like talk in his sleep
Oh, right.
and like have full on conversations. And recently I feel like it's progressed, and he's actually like sat up and like gotten up and moved and stuff. And that type of stuff I do not trust. And it just
Oh.
contributes to this idea that I need to be aware of what's going on around me.
While you sleep.
Even while I sleep, I need to know. Um,
You
And here's the deal too: you close the door, I feel like you're trapped with whatever's in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to be with the Undertaker 2.0 there. Adam
Yeah.
sleeping, sitting up in his sleep. I wouldn't want to do that either. This is obviously assuming that you're on your own.
And also, like, I guess I'm gonna add another thing to that. If you close the door and like somebody snuck in there, they're gonna close the door, and guess what? If you're like look around and they're hiding, the door's still closed, so you never think anything went wrong. But if the door's open, it's very hard for them to put it in the exact same position you had it open. The right
So it's
angle, you need to
so
have
it's
it.
not very hard though for you to open your eyes and remember the exact same position.
No, listen, if you're like me, you're gonna know what position you had it.
If you're like me.
You're gonna know that's a few degrees off. You're gonna say, "Wait a
Uh,
second, I know that wasn't the AC that moved it. I
oh
have
wait,
no
oh
fan going right now. There's somebody, but then see, that's the thing. They're watching you. They're doing some perv stuff. I don't know, but now they don't know you're aware, but you're aware because you saw that the doors moved a few degrees to the left. So you act like everything's fine, right? There's only so many places they can hide. So you act like nothing's going on, and they think they're in the clear, and then you surprise them. Now you have the upper hand. You see?
I wish I could say I see what you're saying, but
These are all tips that you need to have.
seems like a dead duck. Every scenario you said so far seems
We're
like you're
Ned's declassified in here.
interesting.
This is adult living survival guide right now.
That was a
Um,
good show.
especially yeah, he was especially if you're in New York City. I don't know what y'all guys doing out there.
Well, we lock our doors out here. That's exactly why we don't do any of this.
I guess so. You gotta be careful because the rats already snuck in. That's the thing. You gotta worry about that type of stuff.
We could deal with them.
Well, so I guess we can sort of explain here since we've been gone for 2 weeks. How was your vacation? Your 2 week podcast vacation?
Memorial Day and everything. Well, I
Yeah.
only had a 1 week vacation because we actually recorded an episode.
I guess that's right. I guess that's true. We did record. I keep forgetting. I'm trying to convince myself that nothing ever happened, so I feel like I didn't lose anything. In reality, we lost the best podcast episode ever.
Exactly. No, my week hiatus was good. I feel like my short-term memory sucks because I like don't remember what I did on Memorial Day. I know I went to Dumbo for the first time in which is a popular neighborhood in Brooklyn here in New York. And that was good. Had some good food, some drinks, but besides that, I don't really remember what I did. Nothing too special.
Yeah, I don't think I did anything special either. A lot of it was like a preparation. It's been busy past few weeks. I don't know how to say that. My brother Adam, he's graduating from high school, or I guess I should say he just graduated this past weekend from school,
Nice.
from high school, and so I guess I kind of take y'all guys down and sort of explain that whole situation. We went to a part of Dallas that I'm not completely fond of heading towards for where it was held. This ceremony was held. That sounds super bad, but I just don't want to drive down there for some obvious reasons. But regardless, I showed up and it was fine. It wasn't too packed. We were about an hour early, which I thought was funny. But all in hoping to get some good seats, right? But there's only 120 kids for his graduation, so it wasn't that many people. But being there in the parking lot waiting, I took my uncle with me. My uncle, he drove with me. My uncle is blind, so this is for the listeners who are not aware. Maybe I haven't even brought it up. My uncle's blind. He's not 100% blind. I will say he has described it to everybody. One eyelid is completely closed at all times. It doesn't open. It just stays closed. And then the other eye.
Does he wear an eye patch over that?
No, it's just his eye just closed. It's just like that the whole time. One eye just looks like he's always winking at you.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. The wink doesn't open. But I think it's in development when he was my grandmother was pregnant with him. And of course, I don't know what. Honestly, she was pregnant with him back in the 70s, so I can't tell you definitively what happened, what was wrong. I think she had took some.
You weren't there, right?
Yeah, I wasn't there, but she took some medicine. But we all know what happened in the 70s. But she was prescribed some medicine. At least this is the story I was told. And he came out, like that. Really, what's going on with that other eye is that it never developed. So he lets me open it. He lets anybody really open it if you dare open up the eyelid, and the eye moves around like with the other eye, but it doesn't work because it's still like that of a baby eye, like a little kid's eye.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it just never.
Wait, so he lets you open it, meaning he lets you touch his eyelid?
Yeah, he'll let me like move the eyelid open and see the eye moving around. He can't see.
So he's like the opposite. He's like the opposite of you, where you don't let anybody.
Oh no, yeah, he'll freely let anybody touch his fine. Not me. I would never. I can see out of both eyes. I've never let you touch.
He said, "I don't gotta prove nothing to you."
Yeah, I'll never let you get close. Not even the eye doctor who's trying to help me out. I'm sorry, I go blind. But
that reminds me of now you said baby eye, that reminds me of the fun fact in college that you had that no one ever fact checked, and if one of the listeners, and if one of the listeners wants to fact check this, you did something along the lines of babies have no knees. Is that?
Yes, so we are just talking here, but babies do not have kneecaps. Um, when they're little babies, and so when you try to have them stand up and stuff,
Mhm.
like I don't know what you think is going to happen, but they have nothing to lock in there. There's an absence of a kneecap. It's just
There's
two
a
bones.
lack of a kneecap.
It's
Wait, so
just
like
two
we're talking
bones
about
flung.
newborn, like before.
Yeah, and I forgot now that I mean I when I had this information in my head, and it's been a few years now, and I can't tell. I think I forgot what the exact age was. I mean, I want to say it's at least like 6 months
Hmm.
that baby doesn't have a kneecap. I want to say it's a little bit more beyond that. I don't want to say two because then people are like, my kid's walking at two, so yeah, it's definitely not two.
Yeah, it's not too.
Um, but it was some months. It wasn't like the first couple of weeks or something. It was like for a little while when your baby's crawling around everywhere. How do you think the baby's not hurting its knees when it's on this crawling around everywhere? There's an absence of a
Oh, that
kneecap.
makes sense. I always wondered. I was like, how do they crawl for so long? And I crawl for 2 seconds, and my knee hurts.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you got a knee. And they don't. It's just they just got two bones floating around over there. So for them, it's like, what do I do to move around? Really, they're just dragging their leg. They know they work, but they don't know how. But
Yeah.
yeah, y'all guys can feel free to fact check me on that one.
Hmm?
Um, I don't know. I won't tell you exact, age because I can't remember it now. But yeah, babies don't have kneecaps. And my uncle has a baby eye.
There it
Because I
is.
would connect those two. Well, and it's funny because a lot of times my uncle he's blind, but also uh, I mean I've talked about this before where I try to test it on him and I try to see if he's really blind. And so I have brought up on the podcast before where I'll try to see like, hey, can you really see? He from what he describes it, for anybody who's listening now, he can see kind of like a outline of a shape and he can see some type of colors. But I think it's funny because every single time we'll go somewhere, it's like he's trying to prove that he's blind. Like I haven't known him for the whole 24 years of my existence. And
Mhm.
it doesn't matter where, but he'll always ask me something. And I think this is why I think he's lying, all right? Because he'll say, um, we'll be somewhere and he'll be like, that carpet's blue, right? When it's obviously like something close to blue, it's like green. He'll
Mhm.
say, like, the carpet's blue, right? When he knows, I feel like he knows for sure that it's not blue. He's trying to act. This is why I think he's faking it. And I'm like, no, no, it's green. He goes, oh, really? I thought I saw blue. It's like, no, you didn't. You saw the green, and now you're trying to act like you didn't know.
The
Um,
level of paranoia is,
Well, so like, well, he did this at the graduation. I do whenever we walk in the graduation, my uncle he has this cane, right, like normal blind people do. He doesn't use the cane as a blind person should, though. He uses this as a walking staff, like Gandalf. And I think it's just the colors just to signify to everybody else he's blind. And then
yeah.
he'll put one hand on my shoulder, and then I'll sort of walk him through. And I've done this for the longest time, so I'm a pro at it, and I'll hey, there's a step coming, and this is what we're doing.
Mhm.
And then we get to the seats, and I'm the one that they usually get stuck with the blind man. And then I knew it. I knew he was going to do it any second. I was waiting for it. And he said, those chairs over there are blue, it was something close to blue. And I can't even tell you now what I was. I think it was maybe like, uh, it might have been green now. That's probably why I'm thinking of it right now. But he said it was something like that. And I was like, I know it. I know you. How did you see it? First of all, that's so far away where we're
What
at.
chairs over where?
Yeah. So I just think I think it's crazy. Like, what was he doing? While we're on the topic of him, I think it's funny because I think I won't bring this up. I did see the movie Quiet Place too. I
Ooh.
did see that movie in theaters. I don't know. I know you're not a big fan of scary movies in general.
I saw the first one, which was good.
Yeah, would you consider it a scary movie?
Um no, I don't know if it's scary. I think it's more like suspense.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
Um
I took Lindsay to go with us. It was my family and stuff, and she's definitely not a scary movie person, but
yeah.
I think she would agree with you on the suspense part. Have you seen part two?
No, not yet. I've seen part one.
Okay.
Part one's good. Part two, the part of it that I most would look forward to is that it tells a bit more of like the story of how it
Yeah,
started.
background. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody here who hasn't watched it. But what I think is funny is that my whole family went, so that includes Chewy. So basically, we took a blind man to go watch A Quiet Place too, and I
Oh,
think it's funny because for people who don't understand what A Quiet Place is about, as the title suggests, it's very quiet throughout the movie. There is not that much dialogue, not that much sound.
so this is the movie with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. So John Krasinski is Jim from The Office, and so they made a movie together where they're basically in this like post-apocalyptic town,
Yeah,
where
after like alien invasion.
aliens come, yeah, an alien invasion, and I guess aliens track you down via sound, but the aliens are blind. So it's funny that
Yeah, so these aliens are not like the ones that you would imagine with the
right,
oval eyes and stuff. Like these are just like almost like Stranger Things type creatures.
yeah.
But they're considered aliens, and basically in both movies, like they the sound is what I guess they dislike or something like that, but they will find you if you make any noise.
So it's called a quiet place because to survive, you literally need to be quiet. And so the much of the movie is subtitles. It's no
Yeah, they
audio.
they they speak through sign language and sort of body language and gestures and
Your uncle is just
expressions. And so yeah, we took him to watch A Quiet Place too, and we thought it was all funny because I don't think anybody realized that when we brought him along. But he came out saying that he didn't really understand what was going on, and I was like, how do you not understand? Well, that's because he
how
watched
do you not how could he understand? You guys
watched 2 hours of breathing and
you
and
guys suck.
and so I think that was funny. And he wanted a poster afterwards. I don't know why. He didn't know he didn't know what happened throughout the whole movie.
How was he gonna see the poster?
Yeah, exactly. See, these are things I'm telling you. I don't know. I don't know if he's faking it or if he's being truthful. How did he even know I had a poster in my hand? But like, yeah. So I just think that's one of the things we did in these past 2 weeks. And so we get into this graduation. And now I will say this about the graduation too. I guess to get out a little bit off topic and talk about that. At the graduation, they did have us sort of spaced out. They had rows blocked off, right? So it was like you could sit in one row, and the one behind you in front of you was blocked off.
I'm surprised.
For
Look at Texas being progressive
I
over
know,
there.
right?
Wow.
So for the whole COVID protection thing, but of course, there's always going to be rule breakers here and there. Now, I will say this: I'm very like big on. I'm not going to say like I'm a narc or anything, but I think sometimes when there's rules put in place, I do tend to try to follow the rules best I can. I just like to be prepared, and I don't like to be confrontational as much. So I like to have everything that I need to know before I do something. The guy explained when we're getting in there that about the whole rules. You can't sit, and they have rope to block off these rows basically. So there's just anywhere where there's not rope blocking off that row, you're free to sit in.
Yeah.
And so we are in Texas, and so there are a lot of Mexican people, a lot of a high Mexican population, and I am Mexican myself, so I feel like I can talk about this a little bit. But I think sometimes Mexicans don't like to follow the rules, and they like to do things the way they want to do them. And so I'm not trying to generalize the whole people here, but I
Oh,
will
good.
say, I will say when we're here at the graduation, um, no, and we have there are different rows, but even though you sat in a row doesn't mean that people can't sit in that row with you, which I thought was kind of
Right.
funny. So like, they blocked the one in front of me and behind me, but random people can sit next to us.
Wait, so
Um,
the seats to the side weren't separated?
no, it was like
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my
right.
life.
No one said so. That's why I thought it was a little bit dumb, and exactly what happened. That's one of the things that would kind of annoy me about this type of people. I wouldn't say Mexicans in general, just the people that were there for this graduation. That was annoying because,
Well, rules like that is like that's why a lot of people end up breaking rules because they're like, well, this is dumb.
well, my thing is that I think some like a lot of people understood there was an understanding amongst everybody that if they have the rows in front of us and the rows behind us blocked off, I'm not gonna try to sit next to somebody else, or I'm at least gonna leave some spots
Ah, yeah.
free. And so when we were sitting down, like mostly everybody was doing that. Like I
Right.
would say everybody was doing that. If there was a row and there's people already in that row, like there was at least 2 seats between families or something like to kind of space them out. People
Yeah.
sort of had this understanding. But obviously it had to be me. It had to be my row where I'm at. And these people, these Mexican ladies decided they're all just gonna, and that's another thing. There's an 8 ticket limit for for my brother's graduation.
Hmm.
So we're only allowed, so me, Lindsay, my parents, that's already 4 people out of the 8 tickets. So for other families, I'm telling you, there's like 20 people, 30 people there, all wearing the matching shirts and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, how'd they get in there if we only have 8 tickets?
They get in there.
You know, who let them in the
Yeah.
who let them in this building? Anyways, so it was my row, obviously, who had to have the people come sit right next to us. They had no thinking of what corona is or what COVID is, and they thought I was okay. That those type of things annoy me deeply, almost
Well,
to
it's
my
like
core.
well, for guys especially, but it's like when you're in the bathroom and there's like a whole long line of urinals and all of them are empty, and
It's
you go about your
exactly it.
business, and 2 seconds later you see someone line up next to you in the
Exactly.
urinal right to
And
your
then you
left, and
look
you're
and then
like,
you look around, there's all these free urinals. Like, what are you doing
it's
here?
just you two in the bathroom.
It's the same way I had described before when I'm parking somewhere and someone decides to park right next to me. What for? What was the reason for that?
Well, in New York, that's a necessity, but yes, in Texas, I'm sure that
Oh
that's a
well, in
thing.
Texas we have such a huge parking lot,
Right.
and if I park in the back, what are you doing parking next to me?
What are you doing parking next to
I'm parked in
me?
the back for this exact reason why you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so these ladies sit next and very annoying. And then there's some ladies who come and they hop over the rope, and you can hear them in Spanish, and someone had told them, hey, you can't, it's blocked off. But the same guy told everybody, and basically they said that they were gonna sit there, and I'm already triggered to my core. I'm very angry. I'm like upset visibly. And then the guy, one of the people there who was sort of organizing the thing, came and told them that they couldn't sit there, and they tried to play dumb, and he wasn't with it. And I hadn't felt that type of happiness in a while. This was like
The
next
joy that came over me.
this was like next level full body happiness, seeing that
Yeah.
justice was being served and that these rules were in place and we had to follow these rules. Or
Hey, I
not.
didn't know. I'm just happy that there are still events that have these such rules
Oh,
in Texas.
yeah. Yeah, Mariel's focused on one thing. I'm focused on the other thing. I thought it was funny. There was a lot of technical challenge. Was it like technical difficulties? So the
Oh, you
graduation.
could empathize with that,
Yeah.
seeing that you don't know how to
Uh,
do squat shit.
yeah, on the computer. You would think. Yeah, if I was up there, I'd be the same. I would have the same problems. Where do I start? Where do I like? So
I always find that so weird though when it's like tech difficulties at an event, or it's like someone's microphone cuts off. I'm like, I know you guys were here for like an hour early. I
I
know you guys
agree.
tested all of this.
I
How is it
agree.
that 2 minutes into an event, someone puts the mic up to their mouth and it
Yeah.
doesn't work?
Well,
How
you
is that
see,
possible?
this is the same thing that's happened to me these past few weeks of the podcast. Before we started our last podcast, it took me a while to even get started, and that's how I should have known that something was going to happen. But it took me a while to even get started because my camera wasn't working; it wasn't connecting to my computer. And I told Mario, give me a minute, and it ended up being like 30 minutes later. But it's because I usually these things work like nothing, everything goes smoothly. And I think
Right.
it's when you need something the most, or right when it's about to be important, that things just decide to stop working.
Exactly.
So for them, maybe they did rehearse it before and they just decided. I know for me, I've never had issues before, and then right when I needed it the most, nothing wanted to work. And so I guess sometimes preparation doesn't help. These are facts I'm speaking right now.
I actually don't think there's that. I don't see a scenario where
Well,
preparation doesn't help.
well, there's technical difficulties at this thing, and which I thought it was funny because, like you said, I thought they were going to be prepared. But there's just like basically there's a bunch of like pre-recorded messages from people that no one cares about. So what are we going to listen to it for? The choir. Why do I need to hear a 5-minute choir video? So I'm glad that didn't work. But
Right, that's true.
anyways, Adam graduated. He's officially done with high school. His present that he got, I might have mentioned this before. He wanted a MacBook because that's what I got for my
Oh yeah.
graduation.
Did he end up getting that?
Yeah, he did. He got his MacBook Pro. He waited. He asked for them. He wanted a MacBook Pro when I got it back in 2015. So and my parents told him that we'll get him to get him one for graduation. So he's waited about 6 years, but he finally got it, and I mean, super excited. Right? He's uh,
Did they tell him? I know he's been asking for it, but was there like any surprise
mm,
at all?
no, I don't think there was that much. Like he knew for these past few, like he's really been wanting one for years, and he tried telling them, like trying to convince them to get him one sooner. And it was always for graduation, so he knew like there was no way he was not going to get it for graduation.
Yeah.
So I think he was aware. I don't know. There was a little bit of surprise in terms of like when we were going to give it to him, but when he started getting to his graduation date, like he already had an idea when we are gonna
Yeah.
go to my grandmother's house for this or do something. Like he knew that he was going to get it. But
Yeah.
super excited about that. I'm getting a little bit tired. I feel like all my weekends have been filled up with all these different types of events going on for weeks.
Oh wow.
I know it sounds bad, like birthdays, and now
You
we have
you you poor popular person.
yeah, now we have Father's Day that's about to come up,
Yeah.
and then 4th of July. Would you have anything planned for these I always for Father's Day first and then 4th of July weekend?
Um I always find it's always kind of conflicting. So my parents are Dominican, they were born in DR. So DR has its own date for Mother's Day and Father's Day. And so I always find it almost like I don't really consider it, Mother's and Father like the US days for those holidays.
Yeah,
I don't really celebrate it because they don't really acknowledge it that much. I
yeah,
mean, obviously they hear about it, but there's the Dominican version of it, which I
yeah,
actually have no idea when Dominican Father's Day is. But so I always have kind of like a hard time debating how big of a video that is. But
yeah,
for Independence Day, I don't know. For Independence Day, I feel like we go through a phase like when we're like in high school, or we're growing up, and we're like, oh, fireworks,
mhm,
barbecues, and then as we get older, you're like, oh, outings and vacations and getaways,
yeah,
and it's I don't know, like maybe that's an adult thing, but um, I don't know. I just think of the holidays so much more different now. So like
yeah.
yeah, fireworks are cool, but like going somewhere and like I don't know,
Just
visiting a new town, that would
yeah.
be fun.
I can definitely see that. For Father's Day, I do understand what you're saying because there is the Mexican Mother's Day and Mexican Father's Day. But being in the US, my mom's side of the family has been in the United States for the longest time.
Yeah.
It's only my dad's side of the family. My grandparents, my dad's side are from Mexico.
Mm.
So they do, for them, for that side, the Mother's Day is always, I think it's always like a day before, a day after. I can't remember. It's not like it's like dramatic difference
Oh,
in like
okay.
days. But it's just like the day after, the day before, like, US Mother's Day. But usually it's just like, it's like two of them that I have to, sort of be aware of.
Yeah.
But I really don't know any of the days of Father's Day. Like I have to be told like it's Father's Day this weekend, usually that's
Yeah,
how
the
it
only
goes.
the only way I know is because I get all the emails from stores saying like, "Oh, Father's Day sale," and I'm like, "Oh, I guess that's coming
Yeah,
up."
well, I know it's coming. Yeah, exactly. I know it's coming up. I just don't know when.
Right.
4th of July, there hasn't been any real announcement of what I'm going to be doing. Usually, we are those people that Mario was talking about the fireworks and stuff. But I
Hmm.
think it's different being in New York City and being here in Texas, in terms like the significance of fireworks and the role they play in our lives.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, New York is they're pretty strict. I mean, it definitely still happens. But it's more of like it's almost like seen as like you have to like hide it. And like I mean, there's just too much like it's congested.
yeah.
Whereas in Dallas, it's like one person per block, so you have more space to play
Yeah,
around
well, that's not true, but I will
with
say that for the fireworks, it is. It's not like it's legal here in Dallas and like you can just
those.
pop
Oh, I
fireworks.
thought it was.
It's not legal. You can get in trouble for it.
Hmm.
They dispatch like the helicopters with the spotlight to find people, and cops are rolling by and stuff because it's illegal in the city. Now,
Hmm.
if you go out into the countryside, right, or you just travel a little bit outside Dallas and stuff, like you'll be fine to pop fireworks out there. But I think what's the fun in that? I think being in the city is what makes it more fun. Now, it is fun if you're out in the country because you do have that like the stress and anxiety is taken away from lighting the fireworks because you can just feel free to do that. They are spaced out. The houses are spaced out. You can pop a firework and no one's really gonna care. You're just gonna watch like the
Although,
big ones.
well, first, I think it's funny that you say a little bit out of Dallas. You call that the countryside. You
Yeah.
know we're in different places because you don't go from city to suburb. You said
Oh.
Dallas countryside. That sounds very different. But I would be scared because what if you just light a whole cornfield on fire? Whose field is that? Like,
Yeah, I guess so. I never really thought
that,
about it. I think on whenever we have like the dry times, like they will say like you got to be careful. But as I've mentioned in the podcast before, maybe I mentioned on the ones that we haven't recorded, but the uh it's rained a lot here in Dallas, so or in Texas in general. So we are not in a drought season or anything.
mm,
So usually that means that whenever you light fireworks, there is no problem with like anything catching on fire, really.
gotcha.
Because there's none of that dryness anywhere. But you still have to be precautious. Now, I've had issues with fireworks, probably every year that I've played with fireworks, and that's usually for New Year's and Fourth of July. But it never fails. There's always something that happens, and you
Yeah.
would think like after for so long, why like you would probably stop. I just haven't. One year my dad had, this is psychodrama we're talking about, decided, him and my mom decided, like, we're just gonna pop fireworks out here in the countryside, right? But the problem is, like, it's not like we own a house out there in the country where you go buy the fireworks and stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes it'll be like people who offer their property out for you to go pop fireworks,
Yeah.
right? If they have a lot of land and then you can just go out there and pop fireworks there on their land,
Mm.
if that's what you want to do. Now, I was a little bit younger, and I don't know why my dad thought this would be a good idea to do, especially out in the middle of nowhere, Texas. Um,
Jeez.
I do like Texas. I will say that Texas is one of the most sus states when it comes to being nighttime and being in the middle of nowhere. I feel like I would trust
Yeah.
myself. I would trust myself more in like New York and being out in the countryside than I would in Texas because I feel you cannot trust the people out here.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why. Where do you, Jeepers Creepers didn't take place
Yeah,
in
Jeepers
New York.
Creepers,
It took
Texas
place in
Chainsaw Massacre. A
yeah,
lot of hills
exactly.
have eyes. Like these things happen in
Ain't,
Texas.
ain't, ain't no hills here. Well, unless you're in the
Yeah,
Bronx, but
nothing really good comes out of being in the countryside in Texas. So my dad decides that we're gonna pop fireworks at some random person's house in the country. Now it's nighttime. I think they gave us a piece of cardboard to lay it out on, and these are just random people. I think that was one of my most sus Fourth of July's I've ever been to, or I've ever had. Never again will I do it. I don't know what went on in his head. I think I'll have to talk to him about it, to sort of get his thought process
yeah.
on what was going on. Why did you think it was okay to bring two little kids and your wife to go pop fireworks to some random person's house with no lights? They didn't have any lights. And
What?
this was back before your phone had a flashlight on it. So it was like the little flip phones that you had to use the light to see what we were lighting up and the lighter, right? Of
You guys
course.
are just lighting fireworks in pitch black.
Yeah, basically it was pitch black. We had the little lighter, we had the lighter to see a little bit of a flame. But there was no flashlight. We didn't have any flashlights with us. Like I
Yeah.
said, there was no preparation. I don't know what my dad was thinking. I think he just didn't want to deal with it that year. But regardless, we usually most of the time we will pop fireworks right there in the front of my house in the street. My biggest fear is like Manuel said, not lighting a cornfield on fire, but lighting someone else's house on fire,
Mm,
because we can be kind of close to them like that. And the thing about fireworks is, I mean, they shoot up and they explode, but no one ever like notices. If you've never really lit fireworks yourself, you don't know that pieces fall down.
right.
So if something's exploding in the air, it's not like it disappears or disintegrated. Like there's whole pieces of that firework and like embers that will fall down. They'll just like float down and light up wherever they're at.
Yeah.
And so my fear is the house in front of me had their house burned down before.
Jeez.
I remember being a kid and that house was on fire. And so they built a new one. So my fear is I'm gonna light a firework and I'm gonna burn their second house down.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to go through it again. I guess you know what? It sounds bad. I'm not even scared about the fire in their house. It's more about me getting sued. So I guess it's a little bit selfish in that sense.
So a lot of selfish, but
Usually, there's other people there who are popping fireworks. It's sort of like a challenge. So,
yeah.
Yes, he was gonna win. Last year was my grandmother's house. We did it in this church parking lot. It was fun. I've learned to get these sort of bigger ones. We spent a few $100s on these fireworks. It was a lot. We had a lot. I
Yeah,
think one of
fireworks are
the
pretty cheap.
they're not cheap. No, they're not. Fireworks are not cheap at all. Mario's saying this because he hasn't. Have you bought fireworks before?
No.
Um,
Well, my understanding is like I can get like a dozen of 20 to 30 pieces. Even granted, they might be small pieces, but like I can get 20 to 30 fireworks for $15 or something. Yeah, if I wanted to put on a Macy's spectacular, I'd have to spend hundreds or maybe thousands of bucks. But
yeah, no, you're not. $50 doesn't get you like two fireworks. No, fireworks are I will say they're not super cheap. You can get like the little kid fireworks.
yeah,
You probably $50 you can get a lot of little kid fireworks like the little chickens that lay the eggs or the sparklers and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um,
sparklers.
Now, you want the real ones are in, you're looking at like $20 a firework, which is not that. I mean, this is for like the little. I mean, they're not little. They pack a punch, but they're not like the jumbo. Like you said, the Macy's
Yeah, yeah.
display or
I mean, yeah.
anything.
So you need to spend at least a few hundred, if not thousands.
Yeah, just if you want to get some, if you want to get something decent, a good collection, because when you light it up, it lasts maybe. I mean, it depends on what you're getting, but they're only going to last 20 seconds, 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
once it's over, right? And honestly, it's hard to describe you the high that you get from going to a fireworks stand. And honestly, you could have like I'm gonna spend $50 and walk out of there spending more than that because
Yeah.
you get very hyped up from buying a firework. I don't know why.
Hmm?
And this happens every year. I try to tell myself not this year, but then you get into it and you're like, that's all I have. You're like, let's spend another 100. And you see another cool one and you say, you know what? Let's just do it. And then you come out spending $600, $700 on fireworks for a show that's going to last maybe 5 minutes with all of them combined. But
Maybe that's just how all Texans feel when they're buying firearms and
maybe
things of
yeah,
that nature.
that'd explain a lot, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's definitely fun because the fireworks stand people will hype it up too, and things that they move fast. And I think that's what contributes. I think they're smart in their thinking. There is
Yeah.
no like, oh, you want this one? Like this is cool. Like it's like, what do you want? And they have all of them. They have these little calculators out. There is no like, you take this and we're gonna scan anything. It's they have little paper signs for where all the fireworks are at, and they say, you say, yeah, I want the Angry Birds over there, and they'll go get it, and they're like, what else? And that's what, and they'll just add, they'll start adding on like those little calculators, so you don't even see how much your total's adding up to yet.
Wow.
You
It's
just have
like
to,
a New York produce cart. It's
yeah,
like the produce carts with the
yeah.
little paper signs on them.
Is that what yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just got to be aware. You have to like mentally know what you do. Usually, I try to add it up before, and the thing is that they'll keep asking you like, "Are you? Hey, you ready? You ready? Like, you want something? You ready?" And usually,
You're like, oh, I guess I have to keep going.
usually I'm like, give me a second. Usually I'm like, give me a second. Let me. I'm adding everything up in my head, and then by the time I'm ready to order, it's like I forget it all of what exactly I added. Right, I didn't write anything
Yeah.
down. So then I'm like, all right, yeah, just give me that one. And they're like, all right, anything else? And yeah, I get this one. And then not even they won't even say anything else. They'll say like, what else? Like implying like that's it. Like you can't just get two, and they're gonna, it's once you've already hit a few $100 that they say, all right, like is that it? But before that, they won't ever ask you that. They'll just say like, what's next? Because they
Yeah.
know they're not gonna, they cannot believe that you're only gonna order $20 worth of fireworks.
Well, it's all psychological, bro. I mean, I remember I used to in high school I worked at Burger King, folks. And I mostly I was in the kitchen, but whenever I was a cashier, our manager used to like twist our arm because she would say, um, whenever someone would order a meal, like, oh, number one and number two, we would have to say medium or large,
Yeah.
even though there's a small.
Yeah.
But she never wanted us to say, oh, small, medium, or large, or what size. No, she
Yeah.
hated that question. Like, what size? She would say, when they order, I say medium or large. Because then people are gonna say if they want something less, they're gonna say medium, and if they wanted a large, they're just gonna say large.
Yeah.
But then they would never say small because you never gave them that option.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, that's exactly what's going on here. They're not giving you an option to finish. They want you to keep going. But there
Yeah.
is a high, like I said, of getting them. I hate going. I have usually, like I said, there's always something surrounding these holidays that I don't know why I'm still in the game. But I go with my brother and Adam, and there's usually always a fight. Um, because I try to
At the
explain
fireworks stand or at the
like a verbal fight between me, my brother, and my dad. at the fire. Yeah, we'll do it in front of people. We don't care. Like it's like we're really upset. There won't be a fist fight. But we'll get upset. I'll get upset. Usually I get upset because I know how these things are supposed to be done, and I have a game plan, and I feel like I'm a little bit meticulous when it comes to these things, and I'm organized. I'm saying like this is what we're gonna do.
Right.
The problem is that Adam likes to buy fireworks with his heart, and he likes to buy like, oh, I'm gonna get this one, and I want a smoke bomb. And me, I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my money on the smoke bomb when I can buy this other one that's pretty good, for
Yeah.
$3 more. And so the problem is that we have a certain budget when we go in there, and and my brother will try to buy, you know, extra foot long sparklers. And I'm like, we don't why are we buying foot long sparklers for, And that's where the fight happens because my dad tries to say like, he can get what he wants to get. And I'm like, we discussed this. We plan this out every year.
Yeah.
We plan this out. And y'all guys want to change it up the day of. Um, but usually we buy fireworks, and like I said, usually something bad happens. This past year we lit them up the house next to the church parking lot. I guess the fireworks, I mean, they can be pretty powerful, and if they're not secured, I mean, usually they're not secured, we just put them right there in the concrete. And so the power of it, I guess it tipped over and it shot into the yard, and their lights went out. I guess just from the force, from the power of the firework, their whole lights went out, and then I kind of got scared, and I tried walking away, acting like nothing happened.
Walking away.
I think that I don't know how to distinguish what is a good firework and what is a bad firework. Some of them, obviously they're bad. Like they're not gonna make it, and they're cheapy, like the $5 black dragon box for the ones that shoot up in the air. The artillery shells, what we call them. Those are not gonna make it that high up, and they haven't. And they only launched so far up, and they shoot everywhere, every direction to everybody's house.
Oh no.
I like to think that the nicer boxes indicate that it's a nicer firework, but they're all made in China.
Yeah, not always the case.
I don't know how it's going to be this year with COVID. Actually, I guess it'll be the same last year I popped fireworks. I can't even, now I'm thinking about it, I don't even know how I did it last year with the fireworks, if we did go fireworks, because it was during the pandemic. So I don't even know if we actually did, it was 4th of July, or I'm thinking New Year's, that we did this. Regardless, that's my plan this year. To go Psycho John, my brother, and we'll go get some fireworks for 4th of July. Maybe I'll try not to spend that much this year, but we'll see. Maybe I'll try to do fun, like let's just do sparklers and stuff, because I don't know if I can deal with the anxiety that comes with lighting fireworks.
Yeah. Hey, well, Adam has to pick out whatever he wants. He graduated this year, so.
I don't know about that. Adam did get some big money from his graduation stuff.
Oh yeah,
from different family members. So I'm gonna say, hey, you're gonna take care of the bill this year, because hey, you got your own money for fireworks. I usually always convince my grandmother. For the longest time, I've convinced her to get us, like, give us money for fireworks.
Yeah.
And then usually after it's done, I try telling her, but she's like, that's it. I'm like, that's all you gave me.
That's all you
That's all I could afford.
Like, I gotta give him more.
Yeah, and she always comes with a plan. She's like, we're gonna start putting like this much money aside, so by the time it comes to the
oh yeah,
we've never put money aside. It's always So this year I'm gonna try to tell him, like, remember how little we had last year?
Remember how little?
And hopefully, and I can get a larger budget.
You're like the guy at the fireworks stand. That's it. What else? What else?
Exactly. Yeah. Except I'm trying to scam other people to give me money so I can give it to them. Anyways, that's the plan for this upcoming 4th of July. But I guess we can I wanted to say, thank you for everybody for being patient with us, even though we missed 2 weeks without acknowledging that we weren't going to have a podcast.
Thanks for keeping all of your concerns to yourselves.
Exactly.
I know you guys were worried.
I know you were worried about telling us anything, so that's why you kept quiet. Now I will say that we do have a special surprise for next week. We'll be having a guest on the cast. Now we're gonna keep that podcast. We're gonna keep that podcast. We're gonna keep that guest a little bit on secret, so you guys can be wondering who's it gonna be.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't even know who it is. But we know that there will be one to help. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I want to say like hype up the podcast sort of renewal since we missed the past few weeks.
Yeah, it's a gift. It's a gift to the people for skipping out for 2 weeks.
Exactly. Sort of spice it up.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a lot of fun. But well, anyways, I appreciate you coming out here and talking to us and letting me know that you're going to do the podcast tonight. Messaging me beforehand.
Thanks for showing up.
And yeah, you're welcome for not sleeping in. And and we're here together. But thank you for everybody's listening. And remember, we're just talking. And make sure to reach out to us if you have anything you want us to talk about. Shout outs. We haven't had a shout out request in a while. But yeah, anything you want to say, Mario?
No, thanks for listening, and definitely feel free to fact check us. Cough fact check Isai. And yeah, definitely feel free to hit us up.
All right. See you guys next time.
Have a good night.